Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Isaiah from Player Development. Recently, we released a video talking about FTX and their partnership with different celebrities and particularly pro athletes and how that's all shaking out. So, I thought I would invite someone I'd collabed with before. We're talking about Richard from the channel Recharge Freedom, and he is a Bitcoin enthusiast. And so I wanted to get his take on what's going on with FTX, with cryptocurrency, and with these athlete endorsements. So let's call him up and see what he has to say about it. Welcome back, Richard.
Hey, nice to see you again, Isaiah.
I know one thing that you wanted to make sure was that there's a distinction between saying that you're a Bitcoin enthusiast versus a crypto enthusiast. Tell us what the difference is.
There's a huge difference. Bitcoin is a commodity. It has been deemed a commodity essentially by Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC. And the reason that it's a commodity like wheat, gold, is because it has been produced ethically and there's been no pre-mine. So a pre-mine is essentially like with Ethereum, you had Vitalik Buterin and his horde of investors that kept many of the ethers for themselves, whereas Bitcoin, anybody could have gotten in on the initial mine, on the initial block of Bitcoin, and mined it had they known about it. So it was completely ethically distributed, as opposed to being something that was created potentially with a purpose, but that was pre-mined. Bitcoin's rules are also very, very difficult to change. So there are huge differences between crypto and Bitcoin.
Gotcha. So now the situation with FTX, right? If I'm remembering correctly, they had their own cryptocurrency, and I think a lot of their issues stemmed from that. Give us a bit of a breakdown about like what was going on behind FTX's doors, and is that all that surprising?
Well, I mean, what's surprising is the amount of fraud that was involved
Uh,
here. I mean, imagine me, you and me, and we create Isaiah coin. And then we do some internal trades. We trade it between each other. We try to show that there's demand, and we've created this, and we try to create this perception that there's demand for this coin. And once there's demand for the coin, then everybody else comes in, and then we can borrow against it using the perceived value of this coin as a collateral based on that loan. So that's what happened with FTT coin, which is what they created. And when the bottom dropped out, the faith that anybody had with the FTT coin, there was nothing backing it. There were no real assets backing it. It was just basically a Ponzi scheme. And then it fell precipitously off the map. So you gave out real cash, and the collateral that was put up is worthless.
There's been a class action lawsuit drawn up and brought, and obviously FTX is a primary defendant there. But what's interesting and what caught my eye was that a lot of the celebrities that they got to endorse FTX, guys like Steph Curry, Tom Brady, Shaquille O'Neal, Naomi Osaka, a bunch of other names, even some NBA organizations like the Golden State Warriors and the Miami Heat are caught up in this. How liable do you think these celebrity endorsers are for the product that they pitch?
In terms of legally, I don't think that there's any liability that they could hold. I mean, my opinion, if I invested in FTX, I put my money in FTX based on Steph Curry, and I think, oh, Steph is a legit guy. He's not going to pitch something that I don't think is of sound quality.
You would think,
course,
right?
You would think, but he's not really. I mean, I don't expect Tom Brady and Giselle and Steph Curry and Shaq to be into the numbers and to be able to discern what is foolproof, and when everybody else is on board, and that's how you breed a perception of legitimacy, is you get various strong people on board, and once you have that, it starts rolling downhill. It will make me as a fan look upon him with less certainty next time he goes out and tries to show something. So it will lessen the demand for him to pitch products, because people will know that he's associated with this fraud, and deservedly so. But I don't think that they should be held legally liable for anything.
Yeah, and I think that's the tricky part that we come into, that there's a sense of legal liability, like you're talking about, that probably, I don't think either of us are lawyers, probably they're not on the hook for anything legally. But there's also a sense of like you were talking about, like I put my trust in them as a public figure, And I feel like they betrayed that trust. If it does feel like there was something wrong that was done here, like where does the responsibility fall? Is it on the consumer to do their due diligence? Is it on the public figures themselves to do their research or have somebody on their team do their research? How do you feel that shakes out?
Well, I think that in the end, it all comes down to personal responsibility. I think that
Mm-hmm.
in this culture today, we are shirking that and trying to externalize the blame onto everybody else. And I think that doing so will rob us of the opportunity to learn if we do that. So, on a personal basis, I didn't have any money in FTX. I would never touch that. I had my suspicions. I didn't understand how in the world they were able to sponsor the Miami Heat Stadium. I mean, this is just
Yeah.
millions and millions and millions of dollars, and this thing got spun up out of nowhere. And I mean, we have to be better at discerning and being able to spot scams. And it's very difficult when you have people that you trust that are telling you that this is a sound venture and that you should go ahead and invest your money there. I mean, as far as I know, Tom and Giselle had a decent amount of money in FTX. I mean, I think that they actually probably ended up losing money on this deal because they were investors. But in the end, it's all about you and being able to make the decisions for yourself and assess risk in an accurate manner.
And one interesting thing I saw in an article was talking about if these athletes maybe had insider knowledge that things were going down the tubes and were able to cash out before FTX went down. Now, we don't know whether that's the case or not. If that were the case, would that change anything about how you
That
feel
would be
about the
a
situation?
form of insider trading. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
that would change. When you have knowledge of actions that are going to be taken before anybody else does, that
Mm-hmm.
is against the Securities and Exchange Commission
Mm-hmm.
laws that are on the books, and
Yeah.
that would definitely be meted with a legal response. But you still
Mm-hmm.
have to do your due diligence and be able to sniff out why are they suddenly able to sponsor all these commercials in this massive stadium, whereas Coinbase had one Super Bowl commercial and was in existence for 10 years and just kind of took a lot longer to build up. There's got to be something there. There's got to be something, and it should arouse your suspicions. But most people don't have time for it, honestly. But still, it comes
Mm-hmm.
down to knowing what you're investing in.
Yeah, and seriously, FTX did seem to come out of nowhere, just like overnight. A bunch of ads coming out, like you're talking about renaming the arena in Miami. Like that's a lot of money coming out of just nowhere.
A ton of money. I mean, to spin that up overnight. I mean, I guarantee you that when you look into this further, you're going to have scandal after scandal. Essentially, what Sam Bankman-Fried fraud was doing was buying himself political protection, and I think that he deserves to be in jail. He literally took customers' money and gambled it away. That
Mm-hmm.
is, if you take a look at PayPal, David Sachs, who was one of the original COO of PayPal, stated that his lawyers told him that that was a red line. You do not cross. You do not use your customers' funds for it yourself in any way. It's go directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. So what he did was criminal, absolutely criminal. It's a fraud, and we are going to see this unwind if it is investigated at all. You are going to see some major skeletons appear.
Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I can't imagine how many people can be considered as part of the class in this class action lawsuit. I mean, you
Hundreds
talk
of
about
thousands, probably.
how much investment there was in marketing, and again with these celebrity sponsors, like I'm sure a lot of people bought in, and a lot of people lost their money through that.
Yeah, and it was stolen from them. It's not like I go to the casino and I know the rules, and the odds are that I'm going to end
Mm-hmm.
up a loser. Right?
Yeah.
That's losing your money. This was actually stolen from them, and
Mm-hmm.
that is the worst part about it. That this
Yeah.
that this guy's a fraud. And what really irks me is the media is going so soft on the guy. I wonder why. I wonder whether it aligns with them politically. Because if you take a look at the New York Times, they wrote an article about this, about Sam Bankman-Fried, and they did not mention the word fraud one time. They did not mention so many things. They made it look like he was tough on his luck. No, he stole people's money. He stole your money. If you invested in
Mm-hmm.
FTX, that guy's a fraud who deserves, frankly, to be put out to sea. Just have him walk the plank for what he's done.
Mm.
I have no sympathy towards him. None. He stole your money.
Richard, thank you so much for your thoughts on this. It is definitely an evolving situation, and I'm fascinated to see where it goes. I know it's kind of an unhealthy fascination because this is really real for a lot of people,
It is.
and it's not a game for them. But
You know,
absolutely, in terms of seeing where that goes in terms of business and athlete partnerships in the future, as well as just how athletes maybe screen their offers in the future
hopefully they
for
screen them more
endorsements.
carefully.
Yeah, I
Hopefully
hope
so.
so. Because
But
there
when you
was
see
some,
all those dollars dangling in front of you, it's a little bit harder, you know.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the
it's hard to
public
say.
forgets very quickly; they just move on to the next thing. And
Hmm.
you know, I'm not sure if that much change is going to come of it. The only time that there's change, there's repercussions, and
Hmm.
I don't see any repercussions for the athletes, nor really should there be. But their marketing value, anybody that endorsed FTX, will decrease a little bit, and justifiably so.
All right, so that was Richard's take on what's going on with FTX and with the pro athletes that are involved and what that means for the average person. As you all know, subscriptions really help our channel to grow and create more content. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you can stay up to date with all of our new videos. Big shout out to Richard and his channel for being involved with this video. Catch you all next time.